Dear students, before starting topic, I would like to inform you that as you have got the message regarding the change of computer book, the syllabus will remain same. There is no change in the topics which is discussed till now. All the topics are the part of syllabus as the content of both old and new book are same. So today we'll discuss about types of operating system and user interface. Single user operating system. Single user operating system was the initial version of operating system. It allowed only one user to work at a time with the computer. It have the limited features. These operating systems were used in earlier days of generation of computers, where the processors were not powerful and having less features, like RAM space was low, processing rate was low, hardware configurations were heavy and critical. Those processors task rate were very low as compared the processors nowadays. So only one user can perform at a single time. These operating systems were the earlier versions of Windows, like Microsoft DOS, Disk Operating System, Windows version 3.1, Windows 95. Multi-user operating system. As the name suggests, multi-user, where not only single user but many users can perform tasks on a single computer. It allows more than one user to use the same computer at same time or at different time. It allows to create several user accounts on a single machine. For example, a laptop in a family have different logins. You have a different login ID, your brother or sister have different login ID, etc. You can access your particular ID with your passwords and do your work. This feature were not there in single user operating system. Multi-users can work on a single computer or at the same time and also at different time. It is difficult to understand how multiple users can access single computer at the same time. Yes. We know that two or more members can join a single game like PlayStations and many more games are there. In this, you can access a single computer at the same time, whether you are playing with different devices. But this is called remote login. This is the best example of multi-user operating system, where two or more people or person are joining a single computer and working together. Multiprocessor operating system. As the name suggests, multiprocessor, which means using of more than one processor in a computer. It consists of several processors that share a common physical memory. All the processors operate under a single or one operating system. It provides higher computing power and speed that allow user to run and work in multiple applications at same time. It increases the performance of machine. The user performing tasks on multiple operating systems, for example, playing music while playing game. The execution is required of the task at different level. Multiprocessor divide the execution level and help in execution as fast as possible. The above example was the simple task which a single processor can perform. Multiple processor operating system is used to do heavy tasks like scientific research, where the collection of data, manipulation of data, distribution of data, and execution of data is very high and require to execute fast, which is not possible with single processor operating system. In order to compute heavy data and task and run large application at the same time, multiple processors are required. Multiple processor operating system is executed as several tasks by different processors at the same time, with increase of performance of software. Multitasking operating system. Task means process. If a computer or machine can perform different tasks at the same time, then it is called a machine is multitasking. We can take an example of a car where we can ride it and simultaneously we can play song. Here, two tasks is being performed simultaneously. Then this car can be called as multitasking. Similarly, computers are also multitasking, where the operating system is able to perform more than one task together at same time. It uses only one CPU or processor. The earlier versions of operating system have less feature and resources, which is used to perform only single task at a time. Nowadays, CPU or processor become more powerful that only one CPU can do different tasks at same time. It can switch from one program to another so quickly that it gives the appearance of executing all the programs at same time. We can take an example of a computer in which a user can do calculations using calculator, open on-screen keyboard, can make documents, presentations, give commands to printer to print, etc. We can easily open different windows simultaneously and switch between them one after the other. This is only possible when the operating system is featured by multitasking. Multi-threading operating system. This type of operating system allows different part of software program to run simultaneously. The only disadvantage of this operating system is it can delay the execution response of certain process. It is similar to multitasking operating system, but the only difference is multitasking operating system is performing different tasks at same time, whereas multithreading using different software resources at the same time. Multithreading can be delay the execution response of certain process. For example, if you host a game server on a LAN, your friends will utilize different parts of same game by connecting to your machine at the same time. All the resources will be utilized from your machine, which can be performed degrading factor. Let us take another simple example in order to understand in better way. Suppose you are typing something in MS Word. Here, many small process is performed simultaneously, like typing, checking spellings, checking grammar mistakes, changing text color, shifting of cursors, etc. These are small actions which are embedded in software. These actions can be performed only by CPU, and you are just typing. These small process is called threads, which are linked together to perform one simple task, which is called multi-threading. Real-time operating system, RTOS. It is designed to handle real-life scenarios and problems. It have the capability to prioritize the processes, minimize execution time, and work independently with no interdependencies. It is used when time span required to react with an input is rigid and time-bound. A micro delay will cause system fail. Let us understand RTOS, real-time operating system, with an example of payment online through banks, in which the user has to input a data at a time bound, like whenever you are receiving an OTP one-time password, you have to enter it within 10 minutes. If it will be late or taking more time, then the input will be invalid and the process will get failed. Similarly, it happened in air traffic control, where the proper and accurate information must be provided to the authority at real time. Else, the traffic control system will get fail and accident may happen. RTOS is of two types: hard real-time system, which means the task has to perform and complete it at particular time given, so that the task may not get fail and other process can be start. Soft real-time system, which means the task can get some delay but must be completed in order to perform another task. Distributed operating system runs on a set of computers that are located in different geographical areas and interconnected by network. It makes the interconnected computer as a single computer. It allows all the linked machine to access data and software and process take over the common network from the different computers irrespective to their location. Let us understand with an example of National Centre Medium Range Weather Forecasting of India, NCMR-WF of India, which is used to forecast the weather and helps in different ways. These centers are not only at one place, but it's spread all over the India in order to collect different data from different location. In particular area, center is used to collect data, process it and share it to main center. The main center is used to collect it and share it to other centers in order to analyze. Children, you are very much familiar with the banking system. Banking system is the best example for distributed operating system. This operating system helps to share the software of one region bank to another region bank. Because all the systems are interconnected through a network, it makes possible to withdraw our money from any ATM all over the world. Distributed operating system helps to share the data and resource all over the location on the globe. What is interface? Interface is a point where two systems meet and interact with each other. Similarly, user interface refers to hardware-software mechanism by which a user interact with the computer to pass the instructions to it. The operating system of a computer acts as an interface through which user gives commands to computer and also receives message from computer. Without the operating system, interaction between user and computer is not possible. Now, we'll discuss two commonly used interfaces: CUI, Character User Interface, and GUI, Graphical User Interface. CUI, Character User Interface. This interface requires the user to type commands in order to interact with the computer system. This type of interface is not a good choice for the beginners, as they have to memorize a good range of different commands. Character User Interface is also known as Command Line Interface, CLI. A command line is a space on the display screen in which commands are typed in by the user. Unix and DOS disk operating system are most popular example of CUI. GUI, Graphical User Interface. This interface is a graphic-based and interactive in nature. Different devices such as mouse, keyboard, etc. are used to interact with system. Graphical User Interface is more user-friendly, as unlike CUI, it does not require the user to memorize any commands. Instead, the user uses different menus and options to communicate with the system. Windows is the most popular graphical user interface operating system. Advantages of GUI over CUI. GUI, it is much attractive and appealing, whereas CUI, it is relatively less appealing. GUI is easier to learn and more user-friendly due to presence of various elements like icons, buttons, etc. Whereas CUI is text-based interface and hence is not a user-friendly as GUI. In GUI, user does not have to learn the complicated commands, whereas in CUI, a user is required to memorize many commands to operate. In GUI, user have windows that allow a user to work, view, control and manipulate multiple programs and folders at same time, whereas CUI does not offer the same ease and ability to work with multiple programs at once in one screen. GUI support the use of both mouse and keyboard, whereas CUI support the use of keyboard only. In GUI, multiple tasks can run simultaneously at a time, whereas only one task can be executed in CUI. Disadvantage of GUI over CUI. GUI, it requires more RAM to run, whereas in CUI it does not need much RAM to run. In GUI, it requires more system resources to load the various graphical elements such as icons, fonts, etc., whereas in CUI it uses less system resources as compared to GUI. In GUI, it occupies much larger amount of hard disk space as compared to CUI, whereas CUI take small hard disk space. In GUI, it is still bit slower than CUI as it uses both mouse and keyboard to navigate and control, whereas CUI use only keyboard to navigate and operating, often resulting in faster performance. GUI based operating system is more expensive and CUI based operating system are less expensive. Information. Kindly prepare notes on the topic which we have discussed in the chapter and go through the link which are given in the description.